Hi, welcome to Unmaking a Mess with Darlene Morgan. I am super glad you're here. So this is a video for YouTube, and my podcast is Unmaking a Mess because there are many messes that I've been in and that I have made, and thanks to the grace of God, I am absolutely still here. And as a result, I know for a fact that God definitely has a purpose for me. It's time I use those life experiences as a way to help others, and I mainly write from a single mom perspective, but I really hope that I'm reaching all sorts of people, a wider audience. You can find me on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube here, and on my Facebook, and also my online blog, which I will be reading from today, Unmaking a Mess. So definitely please share and subscribe, and leave your comments, because I would absolutely love to hear from you and know that you are out there. And so it is really not super late, but it's 10 o'clock in the evening. But I wanted to get this on here because, as ridiculous as this sounds, I actually had somebody do my makeup today, and I was like, I'm not going to waste some really good makeup. I know that sounds really vain, and my glasses are fogging up because I turned my fan off and my room is a little warm because I don't have an air conditioner up here. My room is upstairs and the air conditioner does not reach up here that great, but luckily I lived in a time when all we used was AC units in the windows and fans. So as soon as I'm done, I'm turning that fan right back on. But I was saying, getting my makeup done was kind of, just a little special thing for me, because as you single moms out there know, it's not often that we actually get to do something for ourselves. And, I was just really pleased that I was able to have somebody do that for me. So I want to get this video recorded because I'm getting caught up on all the ones that I've written. If you want to catch up with me, you can read a couple of the other online stories on my blog, Unmaking a Mess. But anyway, let's get right to it so I could get my fan turned back on and you can get back to what you're doing. But realize I do appreciate that you're here. And I want to deviate for a moment because the day I wrote this, it was probably about a week ago. I had made some pretty important decisions that I would have to say that are still on the back of my mind, but it's amazing how just in a matter of days things change. And I am absolutely going to get to that and write about it because it's part of who I am, and it's also part of why I blog about these things, because I want people to know that, I go through a lot of things. I've been through a lot of things in life, and I put so much trust in the good Lord to get me through. And what I found out after I wrote this a few days later, it really did change a lot. But I'll try to get to that a little more as I get this written. Spoken to. Okay. So anyway, this one is called Releasing. And I have been speaking already. Okay, for 4 minutes. Not bad. All right. This one is called Releasing. So here we go. I have decided to sell my portion of the coffee shop. The shop was given to me by God. Never could I have done it on my own and think I could succeed. But I did. And I don't say that proudly. It takes a lot because I want to say that this whole perspective is written from my point of view, but I never hesitate to say that it took tons of effort and input from all sorts of other people, including the other owner and our coffee roaster. And so in order for it to succeed, in order for almost anything to succeed, it does take a team. It is time for me, I feel like, to move on regardless of the most recent news that I've come across. So nonetheless, something still has to happen, and I will get to explaining that. But as always, I will be thankful for God that He has trusted me with this particular mission. I have other things that I need to do before I die. I know that God has other plans for me, and it seems like He continues to wait on me to get my butt in gear and truly trust Him. I am going to tell you something that I think it makes me nervous to tell people, because I think when you hear it, I think it seems like such a far-fetched idea. But for me personally, sometimes when I put it in writing, it's almost as if it's just very convicting. So no matter what, I feel like some portion of this is going to happen, because it's always been something I've wanted to do. But I want to write a book and publish it. I've already begun it, and I know the publisher that I hope will accept it, and I will pursue. It is a Christian book, and it is a memoir, but I also have another story going on. So there's a couple things going on here. And yeah, I can dream about this, because being a published writer is something that I really have always dreamed about since I was a little girl. I used to write in my journals and diaries since a very young age, completely honest stuff and open with anyone who might read them. Although it was pretty much only for my eyes, it was a way for me to express myself and get all of these emotions into a journal when my parents were going through a divorce, and so many times after that, and including every single hormone that conjured up feelings and thoughts as a teenager. Tons of stuff to write about. My life was not simple, as I know you've probably gathered if you've been following all my videos. Sometimes I look back and I think that it was kind of a boring life and nothing to really write about, nothing that anybody could seem fazed by or be surprised about. You know, it was just me, this plain Mexican bony frame girl who never knew exactly what she was doing or who she was. And so to me, it was really boring stuff. But yet, as I look back on it and consider the life I lived and the fact that I am still here, there are things that I feel like could come out and really help others. God has a purpose for me, and I promise He has one for you too, and whoever out there is listening or reading. Whoever you are, you too will know that you also have a purpose in this life. If I can survive it all, so can you. And I want you to, so please do, because know that it is worth it. I told myself I would wait until my mom passed away, because as I wrote things, I didn't want her viewed like in this bad light or as a not so good mom. I never ever want to use the word bad mom, because I don't like that or the way it sounds. My mom did absolutely the best she could. She did as much as she could without ever knowing how to raise a child on her own, let alone paying bills, finding the right car for her and I, buying a trailer for us to live in, and making sure I had what I needed. So, a writer. All these years I've been writing, and I feel like now is the time to make something of it. I have the time right now, although once again, as I get into more news in another blog, I have to question that. However, I still kind of tend to ignore these cues that are sent to me from God. It's like when the words are planted in my mind, I need to stop what I'm doing and get on my phone and get them recorded right away. Otherwise, it takes me too long to remember what it was that was significant in my life that's resolving itself, or maybe it's something I conquered, perhaps fears I still have, or happiness that I have finally found. Other stuff, it's just daily junk that I think all single moms go through. So we need each other, if not physically, then virtually, through a video or an audio or words written down. I have read and listened to many stories that really lift me up and let me know I am okay, I'm not different than anyone, and others could really relate. So to me, I think that is really needed in this world, for us to all have some type of common ground and know that, you know, you're not ridiculous, you're not abnormal for going through whatever you're going through. And so you just know that you got to hang in there. When God plants the idea in me, or some kind of idea in me, I've discovered that I do procrastinate. You know, I had all day to get this particular blog written, yet I didn't do it until I ate breakfast. I did some stuff for the shop, which I should be doing. I went outside, investigated a piece of paper that I kept seeing float around in my pasture, which is so pathetic because I knew I was procrastinating. I measured a dog pen that I wanted to sell. Really, of all times, I was going to do it then. I ate a few chips and sauce, thinking, okay, maybe I needed something to get in my stomach to really nourish me and motivate me, which was the last thing I needed because then I really felt bloated. So I was not about to sit down. Can you relate to all this? I really hope so, because then I didn't sit down. I went out front and I started pulling weeds from my garden, which have been there for over 2 weeks. I brought the trash can in, and as I wrote all this stuff down, I realized how exhausted even writing all the excuses down was for me, to keep me from putting words into a blog. But hey, that's me. I'm handing over, I hope, the coffee shop to someone. I don't know who it is yet, so I can pursue what I know, what God expects of me. I have realistically until May of 2027 to make it happen, because that's when our death disability ends. It's when my youngest girl turns 18 and then she graduates from high school. So that gives me, what, 2.5 years or so? And that's when I have to really make up the income that we've been getting. I imagine, of course, I have to keep a very realistic point of view, because knowing that even the most accomplished writers don't actually make lots of money. And I don't really expect to make lots. I just pray to God and I talk to him about, hey, I just want to make enough to continue to sustain what we need to pay for and then some. And just really take care of my girls. So I figure if I'm really going to do this, I have to realize that I have to place the same discipline to writing that I did when we first opened the shop and then after, as well as the discipline that I've had to really do within our lives in the last 6 years since the girl's dad passed away. So, and honestly, I don't have a choice. I mean, when the money runs out, it runs out. So I better have a plan or something going on by that time. I hear too many stories of a life that never got lived, or people doing what they really wanted to do before they die, of the regrets that people have, once they're sitting in a nursing home, or the love that went unshared, the care that we could have demonstrated more of, or the dreams we had but never tried to accomplish. I would much rather say that I tried and failed than never tried it at all. I care about, obviously, who I sell my portion of the coffee shop to. I think to myself, could I still be part owner and still work on writing? Yeah, probably. Does that kind of, method and mindset work for me? Not really. I have heard God telling me just to let it go and trust him. It's like holding on to it is like a crutch for me. Like, in case this doesn't happen, this is here. But I do feel like it keeps me from being all in. But I know that really is a mindset. I know I can do both. And so you'll find out later what my plan is, or thoughts of a plan. If I'm going to make a change in my life, I've noticed that I tend to wait until I know for certain it's an actual deal. It's actually going to happen, because life changes are frightening. I hope you guys get that, because it's almost like you don't want to do something unless you know for a fact it's going to work for several reasons. Like for me, I don't want to do something if I'm going to fail or I look like a fool. I will, when I start something anymore now, I say, hey, okay, so I want everybody to know I'm going to write a book, but I don't know for sure that's going to happen. So in case it doesn't, here's what I'm doing. I think that really holds me back, because I think it's that same crutch that I place on myself for the what ifs, instead of realizing that I have the confidence, I have the ability, and I need to talk more of those words into my heart and my brain. And I want to tell you guys, when you have something on your mind or you think you want to do, stop saying it's not going to happen or I don't know if I can. Instead, just start saying when I do it, when it's done, because only you know for a fact if it's going to work out or not. And even if it doesn't, there's no point in saying in the beginning, well, if it doesn't, because if it doesn't, it just doesn't. So I think handing it over to God is a huge testament, because that's who I want to be. I've been able to testify on behalf of what God has done for me and the fact that I am still alive. I was able to be a valuable component and image as part of the shop, and it all began with a prayer and an idea, which how a lot of things begin. I wanted to be community oriented, and that's exactly what it is. I wish for it to be this way and continue that model and mission of it. As I think more about it, I've had several images in my life, such as, when I worked in the DA's office, working with domestic violence victims, I was an advocate for them, so I held that image. I know that that is something that I still hold super close to my heart, and I want to continue, obviously, that mission. And anytime I hear of anything that's happening to someone, I still have that desire to, reach out to them and help them in any way that I can. And so if you're going through something, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, and know I will absolutely always be confidential with you, and realize that I myself have also been a victim, from a child to teenager to young adult and then some. So I can relate to a lot, unfortunately. I was a crisis counselor for young children in hardship, and I was also a burrito lady when I used to make burritos to make income on the side. I was a sports photographer, which is something that I absolutely still want to do, because I love that hobby. And since my camera's broken, I guess I'll just have to wait until I get another one sometime. But I do love all the roles that I've been in. And, all those roles that you've been in, we don't have to let go of all those roles in life. It has molded us to be who we are now. Sometimes when we set out to do something in life and when we accomplish it is a time when embrace it, realize that moment had come to a head, and now it's okay to move on if you succeeded in what you wanted to do. So sometimes there's a time to hang on, and sometimes there's a time to let go. I have to see myself and take myself seriously as a writer. I am always thankful that, and I don't know why I wrote that. And then I go into, who knows why I do what I do. But I think what I was getting at is, I have to see myself as a writer, as a serious one, because I saw myself as someone who became a shop owner, and you almost have to really embrace that and believe it for yourself. No different than I'm saying, you have to speak those words into your soul. I'm always thankful that the community embraces us for the shop that we are and our mission, our values. And so I want to keep that in the forefront. I can see I'm kind of not needed as much in that capacity, although I'll never let it go. It can continue, and I will always be a strong supporter of community, local shops, local businesses, entrepreneurs, and just community, helping one another and driving local businesses together. I hope, if I do sell the shop or whenever that happens, I hope the owner will allow me to have some type of thread or some attachment or not, because then I think, okay, am I diverting back to that crutch? But I think at some point in time, once you do start something, you're always a part of it no matter what. And I think that's pretty cool and beautiful. I don't know. I think when the right person comes along, we'll know it. And I hope they come along and just continue to continue those missions. I can say that, like I was saying, you can still say that it was yours. It was mine at one time. And, we made it happen, and God made it happen. And, that in itself is something to be really proud of in whatever it was that you did. I don't think it's any different from God pulling me from dark days. He has given me much to be thankful for and helped me to realize that with Him, it is possible, whatever it is. So with Him, it is possible for me to finally commit to some written work and speak words, into this community, into, videos or whatever it is, and let people know that if I can, you can, through the grace of God. All those years that He was saving me, preparing me, teaching me, showing me I could be stronger than I ever imagined, I think is all part of the story that I intend to write. So He always knew. Lifting me up many days was part of His plan. And as horrible as some of those days were, it was still part of His plan. And I am okay. And I'm okay to write about it. And I'm even more okay and thankful that I am to this point where I can put those words onto paper, or whatever it is. So anyway, that is that. Selling the shop. Something else has happened. I don't mean to be super evasive, but it has nothing to do with somebody buying it, because that's not going to happen. Or that's not what has happened that I'm being, untold about at this point. I'm definitely going to get it in writing, but it just has to do with me having to be stronger sooner than I thought. And that's okay. Thank God it has nothing to do with my health. It just has to do with money, as does everything in this world. So, trusting God, it's all part of His plan. It's all part of this unmaking a mess. And it's all part of showing you that I want you to see that when I do get to the point of writing something else, I want you to know, wow, so now she has to go through this. And I want you to watch me work my way through it with God. So there you go. Thanks so much for letting me barge in on your day. Please share and subscribe. I would love it so much. Definitely get on to my online blog if you want to read through what I've just spoken to you. Definitely ask God to come into your heart, because with Him, life is just so much better and more peaceful and content. It's not that all those problems go away. He just makes it possible to get through them. So I'm definitely a testament to that. Thank you so much. I will talk to you guys later. I've got some more recording to do. So I'll see ya soon the next time. All right. Bye.